Hello, I'm back again for one canto, Canto 32, talking about Dante's Divine Comedy. And so last Thursday we didn't do all of Canto 2, stop on doing our canto. YouTube, this is something I haven't shown you, and I'll talk more about it when I see you next week. This is Anne and I near the tomb of Dante, Vienna, Italy. See in the background. Of course, September 14th, 700th anniversary of Dante's death. But anyhow, let's get into Canto 32. Canto 32, we finally reached the very bottom of the pit of hell. This is the ninth circle, and it'll be divided into several rings we'll talk about. First ring is called Cana. Portray their family in immersed in ice, their head bent down, and you guess where the name for this circle is sourced from Cain. Second circle is called Antimaria, portray the homeland of the party. That comes from a guy by the name of Antenor. This is allegedly a Trojan who betrayed Troy, at least in some renderings of the story. You see here is a map of the circle, courtesy of British Sayers translation. This is all a sheet of ice, and not any really clear boundaries. We have boundaries as dots, but in actual fact, it's a sheet of ice. Tell the various divisions from cantos basically by the position of the ice. Just go from one to the other without really having to find boundary. Sin that Dante stipulates for the ninth circle of hell is treachery, broad practice on those who trust us, finds for Canto 3. The ninth circle is thus Revelation 8, which features sinners who deceive people with whom they share no special bonds of trust. Dante is given half the real estate of hell to fraud, for we enter the circle of fraud in front of 18, and fraud persists as an organizing principle into the Inferno. This is to say, fraud is a erodes trust bonds between. Ice is no more a popular descriptor of hell, evil cultural imagery, than it is in ours. Dante ignores conviction and a point. Ice signifies lack of all worth, lack of love, all life, lack of all love. Next circle, just the icy coldness of death. The ice of kindness is maintained by a frigid and hate unloved, which, as we will learn in Inferno 34, is generated by Lucifer's bat-like wing. First mentioned frigid wind of the lower hell is found in verse 75 of this canto. I was trembling in the eternal breeze. Smooth ice of Cocytus, which the extreme cold has caused on glass, serves as a mirror of the self. Why do you so mirror yourself us? Cocytus is a lake glass in which the self is mirrored, journey through hell, which now draws an end by recognizing evil, not only in others, but also in self. So now, let us go to, so I have a word, it's Greek, describes hard supporting the conversion squeeze out the juice of my memories. Strong. I don't have it. So I would like to talk about the modern way it truly is. No child's play. No task for tongue, or no baby talk. May those heavenly read my verse, created and film, all in thieves, and my words may tell exactly what I saw. Reference to the poet Pantheon rise of the horse. It's a work well known to Dante. It's an able legend inspired by her instrument. Down the rocks of Mount Sinharu, down the mountain and wrote hard, ate the walls of Thebes. Dante, describing the Inferno city of destruction, ninth circle, Homer Lucifer asked for the help of the muses in order to build not the physical city, but his image of it. Words that do justice and the conception. There is, however, something odd and disconcerting about these verses. They have three symbols of crafted there, mention of muses and amphion. They the lyre of saints of rocks themselves are beloved child speaking names of mommy and daddy. Yet these three are lifted up in the context of the greatest evil and betrayal of the universe. Perhaps this is because Dante the poet praises the opening of the Gospel of John every letter. It is a word. The word was with God, but was God. This is true for human society. The capacity to speak and communicate with one's shared life and the promises of those contexts are grounded in the word. They begin with the word. Betray these ties, false words and actions is the greatest evil. Hence, this circle are those who betray loved ones, who share confused with false words and actions. This is also true of the spiritual core of Dante's year. Betray the word of God, Jesus Christ, those believe they are all on the same level. All begins and ends with equal creation of the world. Also, how we care for one another is the acid test for how we truly follow Christ, how fully we surrender to God's call, try to walk in the way. It's Dante the poet, praise of the end journey, telling no different from that. Wants to be true to his word, tell it like it is. This is from this recited choice. Now we continue. Oh, Mr. God, not the rabble and crowd this around. Hard even to describe. Better even with sheep or goats. When it reached a point of darkness in the well, below the giant's feet, farther down the slope, I was gazing still at the high wall. I heard someone say, "Watch where you step. Careful, Jill, keep the heads, this brotherhood of miserable souls." With that, I turned around and saw before me a lake of ice stretching beneath my feet, more like the sheet of glass than frozen water. The depths of Austria's maritime Danube never in all its course showed ice so thick, or did the dawn beneath its frigid sky. Crossed here, or if Mount Nick or Neutropana crashed down upon it, not even at its edges. Here is a picture of the situation done by Shando Burke. His usual form of putting the Inferno in modern day Los Angeles. Someone pointed out Thursday that they didn't see the McDonald's arches as they should closely see Away the frogs in the season when the harvest will often haunt greens and Pleasantville, sit croaking with their muzzles out of the water, so these frigid, livid shades are stuck in ice, up to where a person's shame of their teeth click lips like stork's beaks snapping shut. Each one kept his face bowed towards the ice. Miles bore testimony to the code, eyes of sadness welling in the heart. Gazed around a while, then looked down. By my feet I saw two figures clasped so tight, one's hair had been the other's. Tell me, you two, pressing your chests together, asked them, who are you? Both stretched their necks when they had faces raised towards me. Now, see, of course, the image of the frog, and we know how notice frogs before, and sometimes they have their little snouts out water, and then they jump further into the water if they see you. And then up to where a person's shame appears. That's cheeks, your face, which turns red in shame. And by the way, we see here's hell, Michigan. Hell, Michigan is frozen over, just like what we're describing Inferno. And this is from Dorothy Sayers, and this is a very interesting point that she's making. If you have looked at Dorothy Sayers and her translation, you see that each canto note she gives a look at and interpretation of the images in your canto, often very, very good, and I think it's one of the best. This is from this canto, Canto 32. She's talking about the image of Cocytus. Beneath the clamor, beneath the monotonous circle, fires of hell. Here, the center of the lost soul, the lost city, by the silence and rigidity, the eternal frozen cold. It's perhaps the greatest image in the whole Inferno. Dante, says Charles Williams, scatters phrases on the difference. It's treachery, but it's also cruelty. Traitor is cruel. Cold and cruel egotism, gradually striking inward, even lingering passions of future destruction are frozen into immobility. That is the final state of sin. Conception is, I think, Dante's own. Although the Apocalypse of Paul mentions a number of cold torments, these are instrumental in the torments by fire, replacing has no structural significance. It is interesting that in the 17th century, the witches claimed to have had with Satan, sometimes reported that he was ice cold. Titus, river of morning, is the fourth of the great infernal rivers. Cana, its name from Cain, who slew his brother. Read about that in Genesis. Antinoria, and Flora of Troy, who, according to the tradition, betrayed his city to the Greeks. Apocalypse of Paul is one of the early writings of the Christian era, are considered apocryphal, not legitimate, certainly not scripture. So we can get some imagery and learn some things about what was going on in the mind of, say, 3rd and 4th century Christians. They're not considered remotely possibly scriptural. Eyes, which had before an blazed, dripped tears down to their lips. Cold froze the tears between them, locking them tightly. Wood to wood, iron was never clamped so firm. And the two of them, like billy goats, were butting at each other, mad with anger. Another one, both ears frozen off, head still bowed over his icy mirror, cried out, "What makes you look at us so hard?" So to know these two are Valley where Zeno's those waters flow belong to them, to Father Albert. Same room for them both. If you scour all Achaia, will not turn up one who's more deserving of this frozen escort. Not him had his breast and shadow pierced, one thrust the lance from Arthur's hand. Not for Achaia, not even this one here, whose head is in my way and blocks my view. Known in the world as Sasso, Macaroni, and a few Tuscan less known. Now the one Dante's alluding to, whose one thrust and lance from Arthur's hand was killed, as Modred, and Modred was King Arthur's legitimate son, eventually killed father, and you can read about that in many sources. Patriarchs king. Okay, let's look at what spiritual direction from Dante has to say. Ancient thinkers held it as a truth: corruption for best is worst. It's better to have created a lesser being, have been given less, than have been given so much and lost it. Souls appear and abandon all that makes humans, all that sets us apart from beasts. These words also call to mind our Lord's words. He speaks about someone stray one little one. Better for him to have a great millstone fastened around his neck to be drowned in the depths of the sea. As in the beginning of Canto 31, Dante doesn't recognize what he's getting into. He is still staring back at the giants lined up against the wall of the deep pit in which he had been set. Walks distractedly from where Tias looked down and is startled by a voice coming from the expected direction at his feet. Words turn his attention downward. We first notice that he's walking on a lake of ice, smooth as glass, but seemingly very strong, not fragile and brittle. When he hears the words, he does not immediately place the voice of one speaking. He reveals the exact location of the speaker only later. Full horror of his canto comes as a surprise. Dante first describes to the reader voicing, then the icy seas, and finally, in the almost teasing fashion, reveals the fate of the sinners punished here. Again, is state unstated fact. Frogs in the pond, their snouts sticking out in the water. Mention a peasant girl where he extends suspense. Damned souls frozen in the lake up to their necks. Suffering's almost ridiculed, treated as something less than human. Chattering teeth are like happy stork's bill. Teeth are chattering with the cold. The reference being livid gray, fixing the ice up to where the shaman reminds us that these treacherous souls not do the most outrageous evil without blushing. They're shameless. While on earth, now the cold takes away the color, will provide even appearance of shame. Each held his face down low. This suggests some sort of shame. We'll come to see it is a part of the human fraud. Never let your face be seen. Every eye testifies the sorrow in the heart. Tears are evident as soon as they shed their teeth. No one is more attentive than the lover, except for needs can take the intensity of focus, obsessing. During the heart rises to the object. It binds us to it, horrible to us. Love, hate sins move on, live on. And we afford to give our hearts something so destructive, true. Not let the sun go down. No opportunity to help. St. Paul's Ephesians. Ice is the home of traitors. Betrayal is a human being and this on the lack of love. In that circle we find four types of betrayal, though as we shall see, one type easily bleeds into another. Betrayal of family, betrayal of country and party, betrayal of friends and guests, betrayal of benefactor. Dante imagines ice of kindness is divided into four zones. Accordingly, sinners exhibit different postures of ice according to which zone they inhabit. Sinners in the lowest hell are those filed the bonds of family. It's clear. The first section of Copernicus, devoted to the betrayal of family, is called Cana, after the group came to Abel. Dante offers this label in ferocious description. Two brothers are locked together in the ice of eternity. They came out of one body to search all of Cana, and never find a shade or fit to sit with its ice. Mutual hatred based on quarrels over inheritance, of course, right? Of these two brothers, Napoleone and Alessandro Delli, the Albertini, Counts of Mangona, ended their killing of each other. Double fratricide is followed in the next generation on killing of Napoleone's son Orso at the hand of Alessandro's son Alberto. And I would love to know how they killed each other. They, I don't know, shoot each other, stab each other at the same time. Can't find a reference to that. Killing a brother by brother reminds us of the first usage of the word canon. It appears in Inferno 5, first used by Francesca de Rimini. You may remember that. It's been a while since we were that far up in hell, but that was a circle of lust. Francesca de Rimini was eternal howling wind with her lover Pablo, was her brother-in-law. So, that's what's going on here. She refers to the future eternal resting place of her husband, Giotto Malatesta, guilty of killing both himself, his wife, and his brother, Pablo, where we caught in the middle of lust, and thus destined to join the traitors of the family. Interestingly, another parallel between the Counts Mangona and Malatesta clan is a transmittal desire for vengeance to the next generation. For, as I being Dr. Bertrand, note in an essay on Francesca de Rimini, Giotto's son, Umberto, killed Pablo's son, Alberto, just as Alessandro's son, Alberto, killed Napoleon's son, Orso. Got that? The struggle for power among the cousins was so fierce and betrayal so customary, Giotto's son, Alberto, would eventually invite Pablo's son, Alberto, to dinner, and there, in concert with other family members, have him killed. Other family members. Wow. What a lovely. As the Malatesta family demonstrates all too well, there is no clear demarcation between family betrayal, blurring the lines between family ties, exercise of political power, systemic in Dante's society. Also, the focus in the episode dominates next canto, that of Count Polino. There's another tidbit in Malatesta's history that relates to Francesca's story, relates it to Inferno 32. Towards the end of his canto, Dante presents the traitor Telbodello de Zembassi, Femisa, Talbadello's daughter, Zamrasa Xenia, married Willer Gianciato Valtessa, one killed Francesca, born 5 children. Francesca survives, achieving the unique status of being like one traitor in Duncan's hell and the daughter of another. She should get some sort of. And this is a picture of Mordred, and after he killed Arthur. This is Mordred. And here's a little picture of contemporary knifing, cheating, and all that. To save me asking for more news, I was Canción de Paz. I wait Harlan still make my own success. Further on, I saw 1,000 dog-like faces. Oh, that's why I shudder in all's well when I see a frozen pond. While we are getting closer to the center of the universe, where all weights must converge, I was shivering in eternal chill, fate or chance willfully not know. Stepping on among heads, my foot kicked hard against one of those faces. Yeah, fate or chance willfully. Yeah. Dante knows, he's just not telling us. Or was he hit somebody? Kicked hard, no less. Also, I want to mention the center of the universe. Well, needless to say, medieval and ancient times too, the idea was the earth was the center. So it's the center of the earth be the center. That's not entirely a good thing, because my Aristotelian ideas, which are adopted for the most part by Biblical theology, the idea was that gross, heavy thing, bad thing, being heavy, dropped down towards the center, where light, airy things are basically good, float up. They have Isaac or even any kind of understanding of gravity. So that was their idea, that gross things attracted each other and are heavy and fall into the center. Light things went off towards the earthly. So, the center, yes, the earth is the center of the universe, and it's sort of something more of a reflection of all the imperfect things. Not even saying it's something of a garbage stuff. You have crossed a border without knowing it. Isis, Archivis is not marked as where the Malamoja is clear to and separate but seen from another. This difference may result from Dante's sense of essential commonality. All the sins that are treacherous in nature are so utterly debased. 4 areas of Cocytus make a centric circle slower in the ice than the last as we move towards the center. So we're still moving center-wise. Understand, we reached a new zone only because faces of the dam straight out of us were not bent down as they were intended. This zone is named after Tenor, Trojan, who, grandson of Priam, non-Virgilian versions of the story of the Trojan War, urged that Helen be given back to Menelaus. He refused to give her back, and Tenor was responsible for betraying the city to the Greeks. He escaped from the city and found Padua, which is in rare feature or unique feature we get from here of Dante, and finished his work, comedy, the day, walking on winter countryside, a civilian view, is disconcerting, especially when we consider that he never had those days of being done, perhaps only barely finishing Paradiso in September 1321. So I'm talking about this and giving up issue to September of 2021, 700 years, almost day, Dante died. She's she's he. This is a sort of earlier works. Dante didn't have time off. Just barely finished his great work before he only now does Dante seem to be aware of the souls here. What he sees at his feet is not even one of 1,000 examples of treachery. He'll never be able to look closely the same way again. Dante uses both fire and ice in his description of hell. Ice might be an unexpected punishment. Those accustomed to more traditional hellfire, but cold here, in place of treachery, seems particularly all human distinguished in his hearts long ago towards those who should have been most likely to inspire them out of affection. Treachery is also not a sin. As a result of resentment, cultivate grievance, hatred, schemes upon it time. A passionate man might decide upon his plan of rage, might also be turned away from his course of action. A treacherous man, on the other hand, is immovable in his decision. Nothing is allowed to stand in his way. His will is as permanent, unshifting as ice. Sin that are punished with fire are of a very different sort. So sins of sins punished here are not sins made by passion. They're committed with a certain cold bloodedness. Makes sins of passion far more understandable, far more poet. Robert Frost in his famous poem Fire and Ice artfully presents both sides of the debate for hell. Some say the world would end in fire. Some say what I've tasted of desire, I hold with those who favor fire. But it has twice. I think I know enough to know that for destruction, ice is also suffice. There's an old saying, unknown origin, are only as good as your word. To say and what we promise matters among social people. A richly connected world, give our links with others are one to voluntarily. Pledge our loyalty to another, make alliances to fight each other, join together in cities and nations. We often speak of these as being matters of social contract. Every contract is ultimately a result of choice. These agreements form nothing and are so probably not. Even you scream, why are you kidding me? You have not come to take revenge on me for Monte Cristi, have you? Why bother me? I am my master. Sweet. Crap about, sorry, I shall be as rapid as you wish. My leaders stopped, and that wretch still had not lit up his barrage of cursing. Said, who are you insulting other people? You? Who are you, Archer, Antinora, other people's faces? No living man could keep his heart. I am a living man, it might serve you well to seek fame, even to put your name down in my said, that is the last thing I would do. That's not the way to flatter a new slowland. Stop pestering me. I get out of here. Then I grabbed him by his hair and back and said, better tell me who you are, else I'll not leave one hair on your head. Victim of Dante's kick, which we will learn in verse 106, is Cauda della Abati. Cauda's trail on the battlefield of Turkey, where when he, member of the Florentine Guelph army, cut off the arm of the standard bearer at the height of the battle, sharing disaster's feet, the Guelphs at the hands of the Ghibellines, something laid at his heart, is here by Dante. Something's kind of a grim thing that the standard bearer did not share. Okay. The second zone of the ninth circle contains political traitors, including Bati, Florentine Guelph magnate. Dante believed the traitors fellow Guelphs hurt him. Anyway, he thinks that historians have not succeeded in confirming the identity of the traitor. Dante's account, Dante's betrayal of Florence during the Battle of Monteperti, cut off the hand of the Florentine standard bearer, cut off something, turned the tide and led victory of the Sienese and Florentine Ghibellines, Florentine Guelphs. Back at the chronicles of Florentine history in the Inferno that feature Monteperti, the Inferno 10. You see that the battle of Monteperti's Dante, like a festering wound, never healed. Exiled Florentine Ghibelline Farinata Monteperti, Inferno 10, led the Sienese forces to victory on the arch rival Florence. Victory at Monteperti initiated a violent back and forth as Ghibellines and Guelphs exchanged power and exiled each other for subsequent decades. Violence and the encounter with Bati reflects this terrible history. Dante suspects he is speaking Boca when Boca refuses to reveal his name that's been betrayed to Dante by another traitor, Inferno 2. Boca to pull out his hair. This is a miniature war game, Battle of Monteperti, that I found on the internet. See all the scaled soldiers and various things. And this is what can be done if you get together. You can actually reenact Battle of Monteperti. It's a very elaborate and very difficult thing. I've been involved a little bit in miniature war games. Quite amazing. And he to me, go on and strip me bald and down and snap my head 1,000 times. Never hear my name or see my face. I had my fingers twisted in despair, and already I pulled out more than one fistful. While he yelped like a cur, eyes like someone else yelled. What's the matter, Boca? It's bad enough to hear you sharing teeth. Now you bark. What the hell's wrong with you? There's no need now for you to speak, I said. Vicious traitor. Now I know your name. I'll bring back shameful truth about you. This, right here, is Salvador Dali's painting of this counter of Boca. And Salvador Dali, you may know, is a surrealist artist, and he did a number of prints on comedies. This is one of them. And see the details here. By golly, this was up for auction. Although this particular print, and you see, this is got 16 bids. The winning bid was $1,195 with premium. So the winning bidder paid $1,386.20 for this signed print of Salvador Dali's Inferno series. Or if you want to buy one to bid on for yourself, sure. This is the website. This is a meditation from perpetual astonishment. Sounds of silence. All these travels and travails through the levels of hell have been bombarded with noise, and there have been shrieks, cries, farts like trumpet blasts, stories and pleas for notoriety, information. Even just before being lowered to this level, there was a giant horn that shook the walls of hell. That had ancestors buffeted out by wind, and others diving in. Watched sinners being transformed into serpents, being torn asunder by scimitars, welded by demons. Yet here, at the bottom of there is silence and stasis. Only sound heard as a result of Dante pilgrims choosing on their pain, only from those who are above the ice. Countless others are suspended in flies of ember. This is a staggering revelation of the ultimate consequence, the self-referential aspect of sin. One becomes not only one's own God, one's own world, like a black hole closing in on oneself. More fiercely, one focuses on one's own desires and demands of truth. Lest the outer world exists, all that is left is a grudge and hatred. Have those who place themselves above all else in the world. They have ultimately received that which they have been striving, plotting their entire lives. Was and still is all only about them. C.S. Lewis got exactly right in the Great Divorce. There are only two types of people here. Those who say to God, "Thy will be done," those who God says, "Thy will be done." All that are in hell choose it. Without that self-choice, it would be no hell. No soul that seriously and constantly desires joy will ever miss it. Those who seek find, those who knock, it is open. Those readers who do not understand these truths will never understand pilgrim, the action, traitor, and hair police. Must never forget, while the literal description is frightful, seems mean-spirited, at the allegorical level, it shows how completely those in the eyes have separated themselves from the relationship to either God or their sisters and brothers. Oka wants no one to know, partially because he's ashamed, mainly because he never cared for others anyway, like his neighbor. The ultimate traitor, the ultimate lover himself, has become ultimate. Or to be a child of God, this servant. Here we see a picture of this artist of purple level of color. Go away. Tell them what you want. But if you do get out of here, be sure to also tell about that latter thing here, French silver costed. I saw in the world one from Korea stuck in all sinners to be cool. You should ask. What else is here? Right by your side is the one that cheer up. His head was chopped off by the Florentine. As for Gianna southern Mera, find him further along with Genleon Tybalt, open up Mesa while it slept. Soon after, saw two souls frozen together in a single hole, so that one head used the other for a cap. As a man with hungry teeth tears into bread, so was capping, capping head sunk his teeth in his neck, just beneath the straw. The Deus was fury, not in awe, and the for relish, one chewed the other head of beaten bone. That's the end of this canto. Find out more about this in the next canto. But clear up some of this other stuff going on. Note the singer who betrays Cox is subsequently revealed by Makasa Taka, Lucio del betrayed Manfred and the Ghibelline cause. So del accepted a bribe from Charles of Anjou, withdrew all opposition to the passage of the French through Lombardy, thus leading to defeat Manfred, Frederick II's illegitimate son, and Benevento in 1266. Defeated the cause of the Battle of Benevento is another tragic way station in the history that Dante records. In this episode, Dante offers both a Ghibelline traitor and a wealth traitor, his personal passionate trait to preserve the wealth. This is a picture of Charles of Anjou over the body of Manfred after the battle in February 26, 1266. And it's by this particular author, artist, I should say, Orwell. And Dante supported the idea of a viable imperial dynasty of imperial rule. This was a terrible tragedy because it ended all hopes of that in his lifetime, really for good. This is a treason. Oh, you show with every bestial bite, reaching for that head you're devouring, I said. Tell me your reason, I promise, for justifying your revenge. Once I know who you are and this one's sin, I'll repay confidence from the world above. Lest my tongue dries up before I die. So once again, Dante was talking to these people, as I said previously. We'll hear about the story in this canto. I should mention that one traitor is just a few lines up, Ganglion, which relates to Roland. Roland in this canto. When he had the horn, the rear guard of Charlemagne, set upon Saracens, destroyed before he used his horn to summon help. Ganglion was the traitor. This story is in this instant set Roland up. For the bestial sign is reflecting the words of St. Paul. See this particular essay where it said, if you bite one another, take heed, sin by one another. It's Galatians. Cannibalistic sin before us introduces the concerns of starvation that will be so prominent in the first half of this canto. When we finish reading this canto, we will reflect on the singular fact that first time since he entered the poem, Virgil has not spoken for an entire canto. Here is Hunt Emerson's cartoon version of canto. Eek. Oh, there they are. This is divided in 4 rings. This one is canine. It's for people who are treasures to their families. Oh dear. Well, pretty much everyone. Not quite. Next ring is Atenora, traitors to their country are caught. I see. Hello, what's going on here? Ah, this is Ugolino. Now, the final thing I'll mention is that if you want t-shirts for this particular canto, they're fairly available. Get this from this website, only $19.90. There's someone remarked Thursday when I showed this, and so they look awfully happy wearing such grim shirts, and I would certainly say that they're right about that. So, thus we have finished Canto 32, and now we're going on to Canto 33 next.